Today we're talking about what children with autism need from their parents. So, as a parent with a child with autism, you want to know what your child wants from you or needs from you. What's necessary for you to know about your child's autistic needs? So, for a lot of parents, they know their child. They're giving their child what they think their child needs. But if your child could come right out and explain to you from their own perspective, Mom, Dad, this is what I need from you, what would they say? Because as their advocate, you are speaking on their behalf to everybody, to the school, to the family, to their siblings, to the world. You are speaking on their behalf. But if their child, how about this? When they're upset, when they're crying, when they're frustrated, when they're in pain, when they're angry, when they are uncomfortable, when they can't sleep, and you don't know what the answer is, and you can't figure them out, how can you advocate for them? It's part of the reason why you feel so guilty. So let's talk about it. What is it your child wants you to know? Okay, that's what we're talking about today. The thing that you don't know about your child. The thing that they would want you to know that you don't know. Let's talk about it, okay? The first thing that your child wants you to know is that they need you to see them and not just fix them. Okay. Autistic children, kids, adults want to be understood and not just managed. If you've watched any of my videos, this is pretty much the main underlying thing that I keep talking about whenever I'm talking about schools and therapists and doctors. It's why I keep talking about ABA therapy, and I keep saying they just try to, deal with the behavior behind our children. It's because it's about managing behavior and managing our children and not trying to understand where the behavior is coming from. That's what I'm talking about. Children want you to look beyond the behaviors. When our children are having their behaviors, it's a way of communicating. There's something underlying behind the behaviors. They are trying to communicate something. And that's what our kids would have you to know. Validation is powerful. Let your child know, I see you, I hear you, and I'm here. I want to understand you and not just manage your behaviors. If there's something behind that behavior, I want to understand where it's coming from and not just manage your behavior or manage your tantrums. Okay? That's what your child would have you to know. Okay. The second thing, they need safety, especially in sensory overload. If you didn't watch my video in The Root to Autism, Sensory Overload, go back and watch that. When the world feels overwhelming, they need a home. They need home to feel like a safe zone. Okay? Try to reduce their sensory triggers, loud noises, bright lights, overwhelming environments. They need a safety zone. Teach calming tools slowly and consistently. You may have heard me say in another video that for Hassan, one of the calming tools we use is for me to go like this. It's just a visual for him to help him to know whenever he's riled up and he's anxious and he doesn't know that he's anxious. And when he sees me go like this, that helps him to help regulate his emotions and to be conscious of his environment to try to settle down. Because he doesn't realize that he's in a, you know what I mean? So that's a calming tool that he has learned for himself. And it's a visual for him to. But whenever he feels overwhelmed and the world feels overwhelming, he needs a safe place. And for him, home is a safe place. And so what your child would want you to know is that home needs to feel like a safe sensory place. If you didn't watch that video on sensory overload, go back and watch that. Okay? Because I can't reteach that in this video. That's a different subject. Next, your child needs you to know that they need predictability and patience. Routines give them comfort. So does knowing what comes next. So for my son, whenever I say, hey, Hassan, we're going to go to the store. He goes, what store are we going to? How long is it going to be? Is it a long trip or a short trip? How many, are we just going to one store? Which store are we going to? What are we going to do when we get there? What are we going to buy? Are we going to buy one thing or a lot of things? He wants to know all the things. Is it going to take a long time for us to get there or a short time for us to get there? Are we going to eat when we get there? Do I need to take something with me? He wants to know. Predictability is his friend. Sudden changes can feel chaotic. Prepare them in advance when possible. If there needs to be a change, let them know sooner than later. Slow your pace. Give time to process. Breathe with them, not at them. Be patient. They need that from you. Okay? Next, they need you to regulate so that they can regulate too. Your calm helps their nervous system. Let me say that again. I'll say it in a different way. When you can stay calm, it helps them to stay calm. Whether or not they stay calm or not is not the issue. Because I had to say that. Because some of you will sit there and say, no, Teray, it doesn't matter. Because even if they stay calm, it doesn't make them calm. Trust me, your calm helps them. I didn't say your calm makes them calm. I said that your calm helps them regulate. Even if it doesn't change their behavior. Modeling emotional regulation teaches them more than words ever will. Let me give you an example. You're in a stressful situation. You're in a stressful, loud, chaotic environment. And they are freaking out. You're stressed out. The environment is stressed out. They're stressed out. Everybody's stressed out. You going, hey, now listen, I need you to calm down. I need you to relax. I need you to. That's not going to calm anybody down. But whenever you pull them to the side and say, okay, listen, I understand your feelings. You're feeling upset. You're feeling overwhelmed right now. And I understand that. And you have your hand on, you're rubbing their back, you're touching their arm. We're not going to be here long. I know. I'm upset too. We have to be there. I'm so sorry. This is not your fault. You help make them aware of their emotions. You validate their feelings. You stay calm. Emotions a lot of time are contagious anyway. Have you ever got around anybody you were fine and they're upset and you kind of feel agitated now too? Or you got around somebody and you weren't having the best of days, but they were so uplifting and so a smile is so contagious. Emotions are contagious. You want to help calm somebody down? You be calm. It helps with your child. Slow your pace. Give time to process. Breathe with them. If they're like this and you want them to take a deep breath, you take a deep breath. Give them a minute. Talk slowly. Talk quietly. Talk calmly. Help their nervous system. It'll slow their heart rate. You see how I'm talking calm now? See how I slowed everything down? That'll help your child as well. See how that worked? It probably worked for you just now in that moment. Next. Modeling. Oh yeah, I already said that. It's okay if you lose it sometimes. Just come back with love and repair. That was the last one for that section. Next section. They need you to be curious, not critical. The irony is that you need other people to be curious and not critical and not judgmental. But unfortunately, many times, parents, not you, but parents sometimes, without knowing it, could be critical toward their children and not know it. So like, for instance, here's an example. Instead of saying, "Why are you acting like this?" Say, "What are you trying to say to me with this behavior?" See the difference? They're doing some big emotions, some big behaviors that you're not even used to, or it doesn't seem appropriate for the situation. Instead of going, hey, why are you acting like this? Come here, sit down. What are you doing? Instead saying, "Hey, come see me. Sit down. What's going on? Let's talk about it. Are you okay? Here, talk to me." Rub their back. "What's going on? Let's talk about what's going on. Are you okay? Give me hugs. Come talk to me. You okay? You want some water?" Understand that there's something going on. Stay curious about their needs, triggers, and joys. I know that sometimes excitability means happiness and not always that they're upset or frustrated. It doesn't matter that other people are uncomfortable. A lot of times parents will respond because they're in a public place and they are embarrassed. I'm not talking about you. I'm talking about parents. If you fit that shoe, go ahead and lace that puppy up. We're talking about it because it could be you, but I don't want to blame nobody. Sometimes parents get frustrated because they're in a public place and they're embarrassed whenever their child acts a certain way or has certain behaviors, big behaviors in a public environment, and they're embarrassed. And so they try to, I don't, Bobby, come on, come. And sometimes the behavior may not be appropriate. But at the same time, we don't want to suppress joy or creativity in our child. So we have to do it carefully. Okay? Curiosity builds connection, criticism builds walls. So whenever we're suppressing behavior all the time with our child, then that says to our child that we don't trust them and we disapprove of who they are. Yeah. We don't want to do that to our babies. Okay. Next. They need unconditional love without pressure to be normal. Let them be fully themselves without shame or comparison. We got to talk about this because so many parents feel guilty for their children having autism, and they do a lot of comparing them to other children, and they have this shame and guilt. And so they're trying to change them into something they're not. And as parents, we have to remember what our position is in their life. And our goal is not to change them into something they're not. Yeah, I repeated myself. I understand that. Celebrate their uniqueness. That's where their brilliance is. Yeah. What matters most, that they feel accepted, valued, and deeply loved, exactly who they are. Okay? Okay. That's what they need from you. Okay. Next. They need you to be their advocate until they can be their own. I did a live on advocacy, how to advocate correctly for your child. You are their voice in the IEP meetings, the doctor's office, and the classroom. Push for what they need, even if the system pushes back. Again, I did a video on how to advocate correctly for your child. Okay? Teach them how to speak up. Teach them how to speak up for themselves by watching you do it first. Again, and I mentioned it in the other video, you're not bullying people to get what you want. That's not what advocacy is. Watch the other video. But you want to teach them to speak up for what's right. Okay. Next. They need space to grow without being rushed. Development isn't a race. Milestones don't define potential. I'll let that sink in. Give them time to explore, learn, and discover at their own pace. I'm saying this in slow motion because some parents need to hear this because no one has said this to them. And if you're not doing this, you're doing your child a disservice. I'm not saying it to condemn. I'm telling you what your child needs. And the school's not telling you. And the doctors are not necessarily telling you. And the therapists aren't necessarily telling you. I'm telling you. Trust the process. And it is a process. Your child is unfolding, not falling behind. You're a good mom. You're a good parent. Your child's unlike any other child. They're going to be great because they are unique. Okay? You don't have to rush them through anything. Okay? They need this from you. Okay? You're the parent they need. Okay? You do your part and they're going to do theirs. Okay. All right. We all right? Okay. Next. They need joy and connection, not just therapy. Okay. This is important because I feel like a lot of parents, whenever I've heard parents say this. They've been in therapy for so long and we're just not seeing any progress, and so they need more therapy. I feel like so many parents are goal based, and I understand why. And for neurotypical kids, the system kind of creates that, right? You move on to this grade and that grade, and in gymnastics, you achieve these milestones in karate classes, and in you know what I mean? And you have to pass these tests in order to move on to the next. And so that's the way we're wired. And so even for our neurodiverse children, we're like, well, they need to reach these milestones in order for them to X, Y, and Z. It's not the same for our children. They need more. It's not just therapy. It's not, well, they need more therapy. It's no, they also need joy and connection. Your child would have you to know that. Every day doesn't need to be about goals and outcomes. Okay? Make space for fun and laughter and the things that light them up. Pay attention to what they gravitate to. Their love for, in my son's case, his thing is trains. His thing is cartoon. He likes to draw. He's a very good artist. Actually, he's better than me and you. You know what I mean? He draws 3D art that looks like it's coming off the page. Like, he's a photographer. But encourage that. Support that. Okay? Connection builds trust. Trust builds progress. If you want them to progress, let them be free to play and to explore and to have fun and laughter and to connect with their likes and the things that they love. That's what your child would have you to know. Okay. Last, they need you to take care of yourself too. I know. I don't have time. You need to make time. What I learned about grown-ups is that we make time for what we want to do. We do. You got to make time for yourself. You cannot pour from an empty cup. I said that before. I'm saying it again. And your child feels it when you're running on fumes. Let me tell you this. When you're not getting enough sleep, when you are agitated, when you are frustrated and you're stressed and depressed, that trickles down. It's a domino effect. When you're tired and worn out, you're not at your best. You're not eating right because you're not cooking. You're gonna grab whatever's quick, which means you're not fueling your body. You don't have the best energy, and so you're not. You think you are, but you're not. So you're not at your best self for anybody. Not on your job, not to your spouse, not to your kids. You're not. You're not as patient. Your brain doesn't work at like top capacity. You're not saying the right stuff. Your child needs your patience. Your child needs, and you're only as good as your best night's consistent sleep. You're not drinking all your water. Oh, but I drink 5 cups of caffeine. Your child needs you in top health, the best sleep, drinking your water, taking your vitamin, eating your vegetable. Okay? Self-care isn't selfish. The one of the best things you can do for your family is take good care of yourself. Okay? It's how you show up strong for the long road. When you care for you, you're teaching your family and your children that they matter, and so do you. You can't you can't you can't take good care of them if you're not taking good care of you. Okay? Woo, this was a rough one. We got through it though. Okay? So, I hope this helps. I hope you learned something about what your child needs from you. And I know you advocate for your child on a regular basis, but today I was advocating for your child. I was speaking to you on your child's behalf. And I hope this helps. I hope you learned something. I hope this video will help you make some changes for yourself on behalf of your child. Okay? Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next video. Bye for now.